Thank you. Okay. Earlier this year, in the budget speech, our Minister Heng shared that we need to do something about how to help the SMEs, and especially in this digital economy, and they are crying for help. The key thing is basically one of the things we found out was SMEs do not know what to do not know. Like for example, they know they got ransomware, but they didn't know why, when, how, why. So they're always struggling with these kind of questions, and they only get what you call experience it only after they get hit. So what we did was together with our colleagues in Spring and also with MOF and all that, we came up with this program to help SMEs to adopt technology and solutions that get them ready and thrive in the new economy. How do this? Sorry. Okay. So the first few slides are just basically some what you call a background that is driving us in terms of why we're doing this. So of course, you should know better. It's pace of disruption will only make it worse. When our SMEs are not ready, it'll get worse. And SMEs is a huge segment of the economy, so we have no choice, but we need to figure out how to help them. And we are talking about SMEs who are more than 50% of GDPs, employ more than 70% of our workforce. So it's a critical piece of our economy that we need to help overcome these challenges. This is just basically saying that we are ready for a digital economy. It's just that our businesses, they need help. So what we do is, as part of IMDA, probably many of you would already know, we always look forward in terms of what's the next phase we're looking at. So we started way back in NCB days where we talk about the digitalization of the government, then moving towards to smart intelligent island, then intelligent nation, then smart nation. Now we're looking at the next phase to say how a digital economy. This is the plan that we're developing. So in IMD, the view that we take is basically from the perspective of every business can be go digital, every worker is empowered by technology, and every citizen is connected. The reason we highlight this way is mainly because to say that there's no business that's not affected by digitalization. But at the same time, because of that, we're also exposing them to a lot of challenges. So we are looking at many sectors, as in government, and if you see the cut across the horizontal, the ICT and media, we touch across all sectors. And every sector, there is a challenge for the SMEs in those sectors. And every sector, more than 90% of the companies or establishments, enterprises are SMEs. Okay, so this is our Koyo, basically saying that we are a regulator, promoter, so we have both the regulation arm and also the promotion arm to help the industry. So we can change policies to help the SMEs or other parts of the economy to help them to adopt technology. Things like telco regulation is one of them. Okay, I'll go to this program that we are pushing. I won't go into the overall detail. I'll just give a snapshot of why we're doing this and then zoom into how it's relevant to in cybersecurity. Okay, so the way we pitch to the industry is SMEs face these challenges, and it's more acute to them than the larger companies. And more fundamentally, we keep telling the industry, to ourselves and also to our colleagues in the IT industry, is that they don't know what they don't know. So many a time they are struggling in terms of how to go about implementing a solution, or what solution to get, or what do I need to do. We did the iSprint program before. That was focused on productivity improvement. In that program, what we did was the IDA was the one who pre-approved solutions. And as we pre-approve solutions, what it means is we try to make sure that the solution meets the SMEs requirement, the vendor is reliable. At least the SMEs will know that as a peace of mind that if I work with these vendors, I am at least safe to use concept. But then on the other hand is there are so many who went on their own. So we did an impact study to say, is the program useful? And we found that every dollar or every % increase in project spending they did as part of the investment, they had a corresponding 3% increase in terms of revenue. And this was directly attributable to the project, which shows that there was value. The second part is we did was before and after. But this is a no-brainer. Basically, when you deploy a solution, of course, there will be productivity gain. But what we found was those who went on their own, and those who went through this program, they had a better outcome in terms of investment. So so that's the bottom right chart. So basically, comparatively, we say that, oh, actually, this program has a significant value in terms of processes. So we are keeping that process, and we say, okay, now what next? So the challenge now we say is, SMEs do not know what they do not know. So for example, if you say they go digital, what they say is, oh, if I go digital, am I protected? What will happen if I'm hacked? Do I know the solution has the necessary security features in it? And more importantly is, if I'm a retailer, for example, I may have 5 solutions I may need. They may not talk to each other. I'm a mall operator. I buy a solution which is robotics for the cleaning and robotics for the, let's say, security. Then I need a command center. Wow, that means do they talk to each other? Do I need separate solutions? So we come in from the angle of saying that we will take the role of a chief digitalization officer, where we will come and say that, okay, any solution that comes must comply to certain framework, certain standards. And every sector has a ITM, which is the industry transformation map. What IMD is going to do is, we are going to come up with what we call industry digitalization plan. Basically, a tech roadmap equivalent of the transformation map, which will tell that for each sector, what is required over the next 3 to 5 years. What technology is required. If you're SME in level 1, what do I need to do? If I'm level 2, what I need to do? How do I move from level 1 to level 2 in terms of sophistication? If I'm someone of a 5-man shop or a 100-man shop, so what kind of solutions I need? So these are the things that we are putting in place to give guidance to the industry. So that SME is basically, we give them peace of mind to say that, okay, this is how we think you should go about doing it, and this is what you need in order to protect yourself and also do in terms of growing further in the economy. Okay, so this is my last slide actually. There are actually 4 key trusts that the whole program has. I will just focus on the pre-approved one, but just to give you an overview, I just mentioned about the industry digital plan. That will be something that we'll be announcing in a couple of months. Basically, we'll be releasing 2 industry digital plans first. One is for retail, one for logistics. And in that plan, we will say that if you are a beginner, these are solutions you need. If you are going to more sophisticated, there are some solutions that you will require. And how to make sure that these solutions are interoperable and they have the necessary security features and other capabilities. The architect is basically in terms of projects such as something that's new to the sector. You're transforming the sector, but it's not proven yet. So we will pilot with the industry to say that vendors and SMEs, let's pilot this and see how it works, how to solve some of the business problems. Like for example, in the cleaning industry, today is based on resource-based. But if let's say, suppose I go and adopt technology, because of that I use fewer headcount, automatically my revenue drops. So I must figure out a way how to change the business model to outcome-based, so that technology will help to improve productivity, at the same time help them to also grow. And the second piece, which is the provide part, basically many of these SMEs today, for basic solutions or basic advice, they go to the SME center. So the SMEs will know what they need in terms of a point solution. But the moment they go to more sophisticated requirements, I want to know customer insights. I want to cyber secure my infrastructure. I want to know what's AI. That's where this go beyond the depth of the SME centers. So we set up this national center, the Digital Tech Hub, where SMEs who need such help assistance will go to the consultants. One of the things that SMEs do not have is in-house IT expertise, let alone a CIO. Either the work is too not significant enough, or the requirement is not demanding enough. So these consultants are basically those who provide this kind of help to SMEs who need it. So for lack of a better word, it could be like a shared CIO capability which the sector can leverage. Okay, the final piece is the pre-approve. This is basically what we do is we pre-approve solutions where SMEs will need for their business. So if I'm a F&B, we say, F&B, these are the 5 solutions you need, for example, order management, inventory management, fleet management. And on our part, what we do is we'll go and source for these solutions, which meets the SMEs needs. The part that's where we're trying to do is these solutions must have some basic requirements. Like for example, it must be secure enough. So what is secure enough? So we work with CSA to say these are the requirements that solution providers must have. It must comply with PDPA. So we work with PDPC to say these are the requirements the solution must have. So we work with such partners to say that what the solution must have. The key thing is, Today, we may not be starting with a high benchmark, but over time, we want the solution to have certain capability. So if today a solution provider comes in and say, I have this solution, and we ask them, what is your cybersecurity, what's the security consideration? So there are some criteria that CSA has advised us. For example, it must be security by design. Have you considered all these options? We have not made it mandatory yet. But let's say 6 months down the road, any solution that comes, you will say, oh, please, your solution must have certain criteria, and it must have, let's say, it must go through certain tests, let's say vulnerability assessment. Or subsequently, say you must have certification for some authorized service provider. So these are the requirements that we will add in. Things like, AI, is it available? Is your solution have data analytics? What level of sophisticated analytics do you have? So the whole concept of this program is to make sure that, one, they have something that's peace of mind for them to get a solution that they can adopt. Two, those sophisticated solution requirements like artificial intelligence and also in very sophisticated analytics or IoT capabilities, which SMEs will have access to. So we want to bring the technology accessible to all our SMEs. The criteria for the pre-approved is if you are not in here, chances are your solution, when your SMEs adopt, they will not be eligible for government grant. So in order to get government grant, the SMEs, whoever want to adopt a solution, that solution must come in here. And normally we advise, especially those vendors here, is if you are a cybersecurity provider or artificial intelligence service technology provider, please work with a solution provider who can come forward and say, I have this solution with all these capabilities. For standalone, this program does not support yet. But for now, it must be part of a solution that does solve the business problem. Okay, these are just details. Just let me go to the last one. Okay, so there are a few examples that we have from our projects that have benefited, and we use this to share how we go about doing project. So this is the pilot project I mentioned, the architect, which is something's new to the sector, have not proven. So you work with this vendor together with their SME partners, and then we demonstrate that these are something that we need to move to deploy to the masses in the industry. So we are looking for mass deployment. The other example is in terms of e-commerce and how leveraging technology to solve your business problem. So this case study was basically the Old Tihad. They grew 20-30% in terms of revenue generated without increasing corresponding in terms of headcount. So the whole messaging is basically to tell the industry, your peers are doing it, let's go for it. There's another case study where one of the SMEs, they took on one of the solutions, and they were able to access the Chinese market. But because of that, now 20-30% of the revenue comes from China, which previously, last 20 years, they have never got a chance to go into China. So these are things that we try to see how to help the SMEs to adopt technology. So at the end of the day, for the SME is a single stop where I solve all your business needs and technology needs. So that's where this program was launched earlier this year. So at the end of the day we are looking for mass deployment of technology for our SMEs, but at the same time, we also want to give them peace of mind that any solution that comes on board in this program meets certain criteria where it's protect their future investment, at the same time also it's secure, and they also have access to capabilities which they do not have today. Yeah, that's all. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.